Okay, this is Richard Hobbs. This is on poorfortrump@gmail.com. Copyright 11/14/2018, and it's you can see on this phone that it's 5 degrees today. You can see that it's 54 degrees according to this phone outside, and it's 2:18 a.m. And at 1:30. The other video was made. I shows the bathroom where there's no heat. Now this video I'm going to call the heat hotline. Well, I will call the heat hotline and see what happens. And I hope that everything I say gets recorded on this video, on this phone. Let's see if I don't know how on this phone to make the pictures go from looking away from the phone to looking at me. There must be a way to do it, but I don't know. So, but anyway, you can hopefully hear the words. And let's see what happens. I'm going to call the heat hotline, which is 914-965-3331. That's the heat hotline listed on the Mayor Mike Spano document that he used to hand out every year to tell you. Hello?
For the City of Yonkers, if this is an emergency, please hang up and dial 911. Alternate side of the street parking rules and meter regulations are in effect today and tomorrow. Garbage will be collected on a holiday schedule this week. To speak with the call center agent, please press 1 or continue to hold for general information. Good morning, City of Yonkers.
Hello, good morning. I was calling the heat hotline. Is this the heat hotline?
I take the messages for them, yes.
Oh, good. My name is Richard Hobbs, and I live at 1 Carroll Avenue, in the corner of Carroll Avenue and South Broadway in Yonkers. And now it's 2:18 in the morning, or 2:30, 2:21. And at 1:38, there's no heat in this apartment.
Okay, your apartment number?
It's number 6.
Okay, your phone number, please, Mr. Hobbs?
212-470-9154.
Okay. Do you have hot water?
I don't know.
Okay.
I didn't check. I'm not freezing today, but for 6 years I've had no heat in the middle of the night in the winter in this apartment. And when I spoke with the landlord about it, Mrs. McBain, she said to me 2.5 years ago that she isn't required to give heat at the night here. I'm the only one that complains or that wants heat. All the rest of the people are happy, it seems. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what she says.
Okay.
Yeah. And twice since then she said the same thing. She said it to me 2 or 3 days ago, the same statement. So I don't understand what's going on.
Okay. And do you have Miss McBain's phone number?
Honestly, I don't have her phone number because, well, maybe I do have it. Let me see. Well, I don't know what it is. No, I don't. It's on my phone, but I'm using the phone to speak to you. So
okay.
if I look at it, I could find it and call back and give it to you.
I'm sure they have it up at the building department.
Yeah, you know, I've tried that. This building is owned by Emma's Property Incorporated, but I called the corporation. I called the New York State Secretary of State to try to find out who owns MS Properties Incorporated, and I couldn't get that information from the Secretary of State. And then I contacted the county because they said it was listed in the county, but the county wouldn't give me that information. I don't know if there's any license that they have to operate in Yonkers or anything, but I don't know how to get any legal document or any factual documents that tells me the addresses and the names of the people who own and control MS Properties. And I don't understand why that is, but I'm going to keep trying to find out. Yes.
Okay. Not a problem, Mr. Hobbs. I'll gladly put the work order in for you, and I'll send it to the building department.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. You're very welcome.
Mm-hmm.
Have a wonderful evening.
You too.
Thank you. Yeah. Good night.
So that was the call to the heat hotline. Now, in the past, what was happening, for years, you called the heat hotline, and it went to a answering machine with a man's voice on it. But you don't know who it is, and they never, as far as I don't ever remember them ever calling back the next day or doing anything about it. And that's why I'm trying to get a subpoena to find out if there's any record of who's ever called about heat. Because when Mr. Losko, the building inspector, was here, the last time he was here, which I guess was around the 8th of November, I'm not sure if it's the exact date, but he was here. No, I guess it wasn't the 8th of November. That's when the inspector came from Section 8. And when Michael Linker came and he refused, then the next day he refused to represent me because he felt that I had too much stuff in the apartment and it wasn't, he didn't think he could win. But even though since April 20th I've communicated with him that the fact that there's never been heat in this building and there's no heat here, he seems to think that isn't an issue that should be brought to the court or vocalized or said or documented. But, I don't understand that when I'm not a lawyer. And he did twice keep me from having to be evicted for, quote, not paying my rent, but he ended up helping to get into welfare. The welfare ended up giving the $808 to pay for my back rent, which I had to do because I get SSI, and SSI didn't give me, because when I was in the nursing home, I was getting my full SSI, but I was only supposed to be getting $50 or something like that. Then they turned around and they charged me $2,800 overpayment. And so now they're taking $75 a month out of my SSI. But then also, when I came back out of the nursing home, I was supposed to notify the state that I was living back here, and I had no stamps. I had no way to get to stamps. I'm in the wheelchair, and I had no aides, no nurses, no aides, no help. They were supposed to all be giving me that help, but it didn't come. So I had to take care of myself, which that prevented my feet from healing the way they were supposed to. So now, 8-9 months later, instead of my feet being healed and I'm better, I'm still going to the wound care center. And of course, the wound care doctor wrote down that I was not cooperative. But nobody wrote down anywhere that I was supposed to be getting help for 6 months, and I didn't get any help at all. And then after 8 months, or 7 months or 8 months, they finally sent me an aide. But the aide couldn't walk. She was overweight, the poor thing. God bless her, save her, Jesus, help her. And her leg she had a brace on her leg. And so at this point in my life, I need someone to go to the store with me and do things. And she was just not, she was a very lovely lady, meant well, but she wasn't qualified or capable of helping me with the needs that I have. And this is exactly what's going on in this entire, quote, social safety network for, quote, poor people. The whole thing is operated so everybody gets paid for supposedly helping you, but hardly anyone does anything competent or correct. They almost all are doing things in a way that's negligent, and they get paid. And the person like me who's supposed to be getting the help doesn't get any help. And that's what's going on. It's going on all over the United States, apparently. It's certainly going on in New York. And the taxpayers are paying for this, for incompetent, ineffective help. But the people get paid, and everyone's happy, and they all are living. The money comes in and they spend it. Money comes in and they spend it, and they live that way. And they don't understand that I'm poor and I can't live that way. So when I have videotapes to look at because I can't afford cable, I'm a criminal. I'm terrible. When I buy stuff cheap, a dime on a dollar, because it's a bargain and I want it, and maybe someday I'm going to give it to someone for a wedding present, or I'm going to use it someday when I live in a better apartment than I'm in, I'm then called a hoarder. But the definition in the dictionary of hoarder isn't what it is in the courts and in amongst these people who designate me a hoarder, like my case manager says that I am. But I'm not a hoarder, because I looked up the word hoarder in the dictionary, what it means. Well, in the dictionary, if you look at the word hoarder, it implies that the person's doing something good, positive, to help them. But according to the case manager in Section 8 and the inspectors and all these people, I'm hoarding, I'm doing something bad. I'm creating a fire hazard and I have clutter. But I looked up the definition of the word clutter, and it doesn't, maybe I'll look it up again, maybe I misread it, but it doesn't seem to mean what it means to them. I didn't know what clutter meant until Thursday when the Section 8 inspector came here and said I had clutter and failed me. But to me, this is clutter here, a bunch of stuff on the table that needs to be straightened out. Apparently, according to Antoinette Goss, my case manager, clutter means that you come in a room and you can't see the walls because the stuff is piled up, or not piled up, but against the walls. Well, in this apartment, there's no heat. There's been no heat for 6 years or 5 years. And in the bedroom, in the middle of the winter, ice forms in the bedroom. Is water in the bedroom, it freezes in the middle of the night, 3 a.m. Because there's the way the bedroom is, it's exposed on two sides to two windows, and there's no heat. The heat's not coming up in the radiator, and so then it freezes in there. It's like an ice box. It's 0 degrees or 32 degrees or lower, you can't live in there. You can't sleep in there. I can't habitate in that room. I haven't been able to habitate in this apartment for the 6 years that Section 8 has paid their portion of the rent. And the way they set it up is that the way they operate is that if I complain that there's no heat here to anybody and try to force the issue, instead of getting the heat turned on in this building and making the landlady obey the law, what they do instead is they evict me. The city inspector, the city government, everybody evicts me. They go through the process of determining that I'm bad, and then I'm going to get thrown out. And this is exactly what they're doing to me. It's happening to me. If Section 8 has failed me and taken my Section 8 away, we'll get a letter in the next day or two about that. And these people all get paid. They go home. They have heat in their houses, but I don't have heat here, and I don't get paid. I go to court, I don't get paid. Everybody else is getting paid. I go to the hospital, I don't get paid. Everyone else is getting paid. All I get is this little bit of money once a month that you can barely live on. And I agree that we should have socialism. And if the government says that I can live on $2,100 a month between my income and my paying my rent and helping me, I agree. And I think everybody should live on $2,100 a month who works for the government or works in a church or works in any kind of system where they're doing something to help the poor. They shouldn't get rich off of helping the poor. They shouldn't get rich off of working in the government. They shouldn't get rich off of running the church. But they do. And then the poor people come to the church and they want them to give them your money. But this is my take on social justice and on what's right and what's wrong. People aren't supposed to use Jesus or God and religion to get rich, telling other people what they're supposed to think and believe. And people aren't supposed to work in the government and get rich. So if it's the national standard in New York State that $2,100 is enough to live on and get by on, because that's what they give people who are on welfare like me, then that's what everybody should get. The people who work at the welfare should get that much. The people who work in the government should get that much. The people who work everywhere, that's what they should all get. And if we did that, if we paid that to if the mayor got that pay, and the senators and the congressmen and the president, if everybody got $2,100 a month, then that would be social justice. That would be socialism. That would be fine. And we would quickly be able to not have a debt in the United States government because we would be spending 10% of what we're spending on it instead of so much. And what happens is everybody uses the government and they use church and religion and helping the poor, foundations and all these charities. They all do that to get themselves sort of rich, but they don't really get rich. Some do, because some are making $250,000 or more, and they do okay. The rest of the people, if you're making $20,000, $40,000, $80,000, less than $80,000, you can't even save any money. You live in a way that just wastes money and wastes your life. And that's what almost everybody does in America. And that's why, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, that's why there's a problem here. Okay, now I'm going to end this. And this is copyrighted by poorfortrump@gmail.com. And if you send an email to poorfortrump@gmail.com, you'll understand why we think the Democrat Party is a crooked, dishonest, ungodly thing that worships Satan. And that maybe there's people controlling it who are cannibals. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's on the internet. There's a lot of evidence. Some people think Hillary Clinton has Parkinson's disease because of the way she shakes her head and reacts to things. But there's a disease called Kuru, K-U-R-U, which is a disease that they discovered amongst people that eat human flesh and human brains. They found it in Indonesia or somewhere amongst these people, that when the women are given the bodies of the dead people to process, to get rid of, and the women eat them. They cut them up and eat them. They feed them to their children, and in that place, Kuro exists all over the genealogy of the people. And then they thought that Kuru was a disease that came from eating human flesh, cannibalism. But then, of course, because if it is true that these crooked, evil, Satan-worshipping cannibals the few of them are controlling the Democratic Party and the UN and a lot of other things in the world, if that's true, then, of course, they brought medicine in, and with doctors most doctors lie because they don't know what they're talking about. And they make a lot of money off the poor, off the sick. They make a fortune off the sick. Now, that's not right. Every doctor should make $2,100 a month and not anything more than that. That's all they should make if you want to have socialism and you want things to be just. Then we won't have to worry about insurance, health insurance, because we could afford to run the hospitals. But that's my opinion, and I'm probably wrong, but that's my opinion. And when I run for president next year in New Hampshire, if I do that, that's going to be part of my platform, that the way to fix the problems is to lower the cost. All right, now I'm going to finish this because it's over, and I hope that somebody anywhere in the world shares this and believes it.